Good evening. Once again, we return to the story of Caius, Spell Sword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, most loyal agent of the Emperor, finest courier in Tamriel, former head of the Blades in Vardenfell, Hortator of the Great Houses, Nerevarine. And I'll admit, I've actually forgotten what I wanted to do. Oh, I think I wanted to go back to the, Okay, so I think I wanted to go back to the, to Cloud Ruler Temple. Let's start with that at least. I can drop off some of my things and then I can head back to Jadenall if I want to get the rest of my stuff. Or I guess it's Bruma that I want to go to. I apologize for the shorter broadcasts for the last little while. This might have to be a shorter one as well because I have some work to catch up on, but I don't know, sometimes the moment takes me and I go a bit later, but just fair warning at the start. Nothing to meet you this time. I always feel nervous about my directions. And just in case we have crashes. I did not think that that was a bear corpse. I thought that was a real thing for a second. Just as long as they hit me instead of my horse. Yeah, I forgot. I have something of a... something of an incentive to focus on Blade right now. I forgot. Oh, no, you don't. Can never remember what this one was. do kind of like that over time I've gotten a little bit of a better feel for the place, and there's also nice little touches like having it go from rain to snow as I travel through. Alright. Story time. So, I'm pretty sure I've read History of Lockpicking before. Yep. Right, this I don't remember.
Many investigations have attempted to solve the riddle of the Thieves Guild. Despite repeated proofs that no viable Thieves Guild exists, the rumors persist. Whenever historians search for evidence of this shadowy organization, nothing is found. Witnesses know nothing, safe houses are empty, fences turn out to be simple businessmen. Let me clarify by stating that thieves most certainly do exist. They rot in dungeons all across Tamriel. Certainly bands of thieves work together to commit crimes. On rare occasions, there has even been documented cases where persistent bands of thieves have worked together for years at a time committing thefts and other crimes. However, a guild is different than a band. A guild implies an organization with membership rules. It would have a financial structure which would include member dues or some other means of securing funds. It would have rules of conduct or behavior. It would have a hierarchical leadership structure. Within the structure, there would be methods of advancement and succession. The best documented case of a thieves' guild was found in Morrowind. For a brief time, gentleman Jim Stacy ran a ring of thieves that robbed wealthy merchants and nobles all across that island nation. During the recent Nerevarine incident, the Fighters Guild and the shadowy Morag Tong eliminated this band of thugs. The final fate of Jim Stacy himself is not known. The Morrowind Thieves Guild did not have a financial structure and leadership structure. It satisfied many of the conditions of a true guild. However, it was short-lived. Public knowledge of Stacy's group lasted for only a few years at most. Although the Fighters Guild has claimed credit for wiping them out, some historians believe the group merely went deeper undercover. The problem with determining the non-existence of the Thieves Guild is quite logical. It is not possible to prove a negative. I cannot prove definitively that the Thieves Guild does not exist, only that historians have been unable to document one. If a Thieves Guild were to be operational in Cyrodiil, one would think that crime would be rampant, which it is not. The very nature of thieves makes it impossible for them to trust one another sufficiently to work together for very long. By nature, a thief is a rule breaker. Therefore, an organization that has rules would fail if all of its members were thieves. For these reasons, I dispute the existence of a modern-day Thieves Guild in Cyrodiil.
God, I gotta remember where this was.
Provinces of Tamriel. The Empire of Tamriel encompasses the 9 imperial provinces: Skyrim, High Rock, Hammerfell, Somerset Isle, Valenwood, Elsewhere, Blackmarsh, Morrowind, and the ancient imperial province itself, Cyrodiil. Morrowind was among the last of the provinces to be integrated into the Empire, and because it was added by treaty and not by conquest, Morrowind retains exceptional power to define local law by reference to ancient Great House precedents. Skyrim, also known as the Old Kingdom or the Fatherland, was the first region of Tamriel settled by humans from the continent of Atmora, the hardy, brave, warlike Nords whose descendants still occupy this rugged land. Though more restrained and civilized than their barbarian ancestor, the Nords of the pureblood still excel in the manly virtues of red war and bold exploration. Hammerfell is primarily an urban and maritime province, with most of its population confined to the great cities of Sentinel and Stros Mackay, and other small ports along the islands and among the islands and along the coast. The interior is sparsely populated with small poor farms and beast herds. The Red Guard love of travel, adventure, and the high seas has dispersed them as sailors, mercenaries, and adventurers in the ports of call throughout the Empire. High Rock encompasses the many lands and clans of Greater Brittany, the Delis Isles, the Bouillese River tribes, and by tradition, the Western Reach. The rugged highland strongholds and isolated valley settlements have encouraged the fierce independence of the various local Breton clans, and this contentious tribal nature has never been completely integrated into the provincial or imperial identity. Nonetheless, their language, bardic traditions, and heroic legends are a unifying common legacy. The Somerset Isle is a green and pleasant land of fertile farmlands, woodland parks, and ancient towers and manors. Most settlements are small and isolated, and dominated by ruling seats of the local wizard or warlord. The Isle has a few good natural ports, and the natives are unwelcoming to foreigners, so the ancient chivalric high culture of the Aldmer is little affected by modern imperial mercantilism. Valenwood is a largely uninhabited forest wilderness. The coasts of Valenwood are dominated by mangrove swamps and tropical rainforests, while heavy rainfalls nurture the temperate island rainforest. The Bosmer live in timber clan houses at sites scattered along the coast and through the interior, connected only by undeveloped foot trails. The few imperial roads traverse the vast dense woodlands studded with tiny, widely separated settlements, and carry little trade or traffic of any kind. The Khajiit of southern Elsewhere jungles and river basins are settled city dwellers with ancient mercantile traditions and a stable agrarian aristocracy based on sugarcane and saltrees plantations. The nomadic tribal Khajiit of the dry northern wastes and grasslands are, by contrast, aggressive and territorial tribal raiders, periodically united under tribal warlords. While the settled south has been quick to adopt imperial ways, the northern nomadic tribes cling to their warlike barbarian traditions. Most of the native Argonian population of Black Marsh is confined to the great inland waterways and impenetrable swamps of the southern interior. There are few roads here, and most travel is by boat. The coasts and the northern upland forests are largely uninhabited. For ages, the Dunmer have raided Black Marsh for slaves, though the Empire has made this illegal. The practice persists, and Dunmer and Argonians have a long-standing and bitter hatred for one another. Morrowind, homeland of the Dunmer peoples, is the northeasternmost province of the Tamrielic Empire. Most of the population is gathered in the high uplands and fertile river valleys of central Morrowind, especially around the inland sea. The island Vardenfell is encircled by the inner sea and is dominated by the titanic volcano Red Mountain and its associated ash wastelands. Most of the island's population is confined to the relatively hospitable west and southwest coast. Cyrodiil is the cradle of the human imperial high culture on Tamriel. It is the largest region of the continent, and most is endless jungle. The imperial city is the Heartland, the fertile Nibene Valley. The densely populated Central Valley is surrounded by wild rainforests and drained by great rivers into the swamps of Argonia and Topol Bay. The land rises gradually to the west and sharply to the north. Between its western coast and its Central Valley are deciduous forests and mangrove swamps. Tamrielic lore.
I think I've read this already. Maybe not.
Tamrielic artifacts. The following are notes I have gathered over the past centuries of items of unimaginable significance. All have been seen, owned, and lost again and again throughout Tamriel. Some may be myth, others may be hoax, but regardless, many have lost their lives attempting to find or protect these very coveted items. Lord's Mail, sometimes called Armor of Morehouse or the Gift of Kinnereth. This is an ancient cuirass of unsurpassable quality. It grants the wearer the power to absorb health, resist the effects of spells, and cure oneself of poison when used. It is said that whenever Kinnereth deigns the wearer unworthy, the Lord's Mail will be taken away and hidden for the next chosen one. Ebony Mail. The Ebony Mail is a breastplate created before recorded history by the Daedra Boethia. It is he who determines who should possess the Ebony Mail and for how long a time. If judged worthy, its power grants the wearer added resistance of fire, magicka, and grants a magical shield. It is Boethia alone who determines when a person is ineligible to bear the Ebony Mail any longer, and the Daedra can be very capricious. Spellbreaker. Superficially, a Dwemer Tower Shield is one of the most ancient relics of Tamriel. Aside from its historical importance in the Battle of Rorken Shalador, the Spellbreaker protects its wielder almost completely from any spellcaster, either by reflecting magics or silencing any mage about to cast a spell. It is said that Spellbreaker still searches for its original owner and will not remain the property of anyone else for long. For most, possessing Spellbreaker for any length of time is power enough. Grisomir. The Paladin's Blade is an ancient claymore with offensive capabilities surpassed only by its own defenses. It lends the wielder health, protects him or her from fire, and reflects any spells cast against the wielder back to the caster. Seldom has Grisomir been wielded by any bladesman for any length of time, for it chooses not to favor one champion. Staff of Magnus. The Staff of Magnus, one of the elder artifacts of Tamriel, was a metaphysical battery of sorts for its creator Magnus. When used, it absorbs an enemy's health and mystical energy. In time, the staff will abandon the mage who wields it before he becomes too powerful and upsets the mystical balance it was sworn to protect. Warlock's Ring. The Warlock's Ring of the Archmage Ciribane is one of the most popular relics of myth and fable. In Tamriel's ancient history, Ciribane saved all of the continent by judicious use of his ring, and ever since it has helped adventurers with less lofty goals. It is best known for its ability to reflect spells cast at its wearer and to improve his or her speed and to restore health. No adventurer can wear the Warlock's Ring for long, for it is said that the ring is Ciribane's alone to command. The Ring of Finester. The Ring of Finester was made hundreds of years ago by a man who needed good defenses to survive his adventurous life. Thanks to the ring, Finester lived for hundreds of years, and since then it has passed from person to person. The ring improves its wearer's overall resistance to poison, magicka, and shock. Still, Finester was cunning and cursed by the ring, so that it eventually disappears from its holder's possessions and returns to another resting place, discontent to stay anywhere but with Finester himself. Ring of Khajiit. The Ring of Khajiit is an ancient relic, hundreds of years older than Rajin, the thief that made the ring famous. It was Rajin who used the ring's powers to make himself invisible and as quick as the breath of the wind. Using the ring, he became the most successful burglar in Elsweir's history. Rajin's eventual fate is a mystery, but according to legend, the ring rebelled against such constant use and disappeared, leaving Rajin helpless before his enemies. The Mace of Molag Bal, also known as the Vampire's Mace. The Mace of Molag Bal drains its victims of magicka and gives it to the bearer. It also has the ability to transfer an enemy's strength to its wielder. Molag Bal has been quite free with his artifact. There are many legends about the mace. It seems to be a favorite for vanquishing wizards. The Mask of Clavicus Vile. Ever the vain one, Clavicus Vile made a mask suited to his own personality. The bearer of the mask is more likely to get a positive response from the people of Tamriel. The higher his personality, the larger the bonus. The best-known story of the mask tells the tale of Alvela, a noblewoman of some renown. As a young girl, she was grossly disfigured by a spiteful servant. Alvela made the dark deal with Clavicus Vile and received the mask in return. Though the mask did not change her looks, suddenly she had the respect and admiration of everyone. A year and a day after her marriage to a well-connected baron, Clavicus Vile reclaimed the mask. Although pregnant with his child, Alvela was banished from the baron's household. 21 years and 1 day later, Alvela's daughter claimed her vengeance by slaying the baron. Marunus Razor. The Dark Brotherhood has coveted this ebony dagger for generations. This mythical artifact is capable of slaying any creature instantly. History does not record any bearers of Marunus Razor. However, the Dark Brotherhood was once decimated by a vicious internal power struggle. It is suspected that the Razor was involved. Cuirass of the Savior's Hide. Another of Hircine's artifacts was the Cuirass of Savior's Hide. The cuirass has the special ability to resist magicka. Legend has it that Hircine rewarded his peeled hide to the first and only mortal to have ever escaped his hunting grounds. This unknown mortal had the hide tailored into this magical cuirass for his future adventures. The Savior's Hide has a tendency to travel from hero to hero as though it has a mind of its own. Spear of Bitter Mercy. One of the more mysterious artifacts is the Spear of Bitter Mercy. Little to nothing is known about the spear. There is no recorded histories, but many believe it to be Daedric in origin. The only known legend about it is its use by a mighty hero during the fall of the battle spire. The hero was aided by the spear in the defeat of Marunas Dagon and the recapturing of the battle spire. Since that time, the Spear of Bitter Mercy has made few appearances within Tamriel. Daedric Scourge. The Daedric Scourge is a mighty mace forged from sacred ebony into the fires of Fickledire, the legendary weapon of Makan. It was used as a fierce weapon used to send spirits of black back into Oblivion. The weapon has the ability to summon creatures from Oblivion. Once a tool used against the Daedric Lords in the battle spire, it now roams the land with adventurers. Bow of Shadows. Legend has it that the Bow of Shadows was forged by the Daedra Nocturnal. The legendary ranger, Raylar Skyle, was granted the bow for a secret mission that failed, and the bow was lost. Raylis did not go down without a hearty fight, and is said to have, with the aid of this bow, taken scores of his foes with him. The bow grants the user the ability of invisibility and increased speed. Many sightings of the Bow of Shadows has been reported, and even said that the sinister Dark Elf assassin from the Sacred Era, Dram, once wielded this bow. Fists of Randagulf. Randagulf, clan Begalin, goes down in Tamrielic history as one of the mightiest warriors from Skyrim. He is known for his courage and ferocity in battle, and was a factor in many battles. He finally met his fate when King Harald conquered Skyrim. King Harald respected this great hero and took Randagulf's gauntlets for his own. After King Harald died, the gauntlets disappeared. The king claimed that the fists granted the bearer added strength. Iceblade of the Monarch. The Iceblade of the Monarch is truly one of Tamriel's most prized artifacts. Legend has it that the evil archmage Almion Selmo enchanted the claymore of a great warrior with the soul of a frost monarch, a stronger form of the more common frost Antranac. The warrior, Thurgnar Assi, was to play part in the assassination of a great king in a far-off land, and became the new leader. The assassination failed, and the Archmage was imprisoned. The Iceblade freezes all who feel its blade. The blade circulates from owner to owner, never settling in one place for long. Ring of Surroundings. Little is known of this prize, but it is said that it lends the wearer the ability to blend in with their surroundings. Boots of the Apostle. The boots of the Apostle are a true mystery. The wearer of the boots is rumored to be able to levitate, though nobody has ever seen them used. The Mentor's Ring.
Something tells me we'll never see the boots of the Apostle again.
The Mentor's Ring. This ring is a prized possession for any apprentice to magic. It lends the wearer the ability to increase their intelligence and wisdom, thus making their use of magic more efficient. The High Wizard Carney Arson is said to be the creator of the ring. It was a construct for his young apprentices while studying under his guidance. After Asrun's death, the ring and several other possessions vanished and have been circulated throughout Tamriel. Ring of the Wind. No facts are known about this ring, but the title and a few rumors lend one to think that it grants the wearer added speed. Vampiric Ring. One of the more deadly and rare artifacts in Tamriel is the Vampiric Ring. It is said that the ring has the power to steal its victim's health and grant it to the wearer. The exact nature and origin of the ring is wholly unknown, but many elders speak of its evil creation in Morrowind long, long ago by a cult of vampire followers. The Vampiric Ring is an extremely rare artifact and is only seen every few hundred cycles of the moons. Eldon's Ward. Eladon's Ward. Eladon was a holy knight of legend in Breton history. He was a sought-after man for his courage and determination to set all wrongs right. In one story, it is said that he rescued a baron's daughter from sure death at the hands of an evil warlord. For his reward, the baron sent all of his riches to have an enchanted shield built for Eladon. The shield granted Eladon the opportunity to heal his wounds. Staff of Hazadoki. Hazadoki is said to have been a very competitive wizard. He wandered the land in search of a wizard who was greater than he. To the best of all knowledge, he never found a wizard who could meet up to his challenge. It is said that he felt so lonely and isolated because so many feared his power that he bonded his life force into his very own staff, where his soul remains to this very day. Magic users all over Tamriel have been searching for this magical staff. Granting its wielder a protection of magicka, it is a sure prize for any magic user. Bloodworm Helm. The King of Worms was said to have left behind one of his prized possessions, the Bloodworm Helm. The helm is a construct of magically formed bone. The helm allows the user to summon skeletons and control the undead. It would be a prized artifact to a necromancer. Dragonbone Mail. This cuirass is one of the greatest artifacts any collector or hero could own. It is constructed of real dragon bone and was enchanted by the first Imperial battle mage, Zurin Arctus, in the early years of the Third Era. It is a truly exquisite piece of work, and many have sought to possess it. The properties of the cuirass allow the wearer to resist fire and to damage an enemy with a blast of fire. Little is known about the involvement of Zurin Arctus with the enchantment of the cuirass, but an old tale speaks of a debt he owed to a traveling warrior. Like the warrior, the dragonbone mail never stays put for long. Skull Crusher. Skull Crusher is an amazingly large and powerful weapon. The warhammer was created in a fire magically fueled by the wizard Dorak Gusel and was forged by the great weaponsmith Hilbungard Rolamus. Steel is magically hardened, and the weight of the weapon is amazingly light, which makes for more powerful swings and deadly blows. The warhammer was to be put on display for a festival, but thieves got it first. Skull Crusher still travels Tamriel in search of its creators. Goldbrand. The magical sword is almost a complete mystery. Thieves tell tales about its golden make and how it was actually forged by ancient dragons of the north. Their tales claim that it was given to the great knight who is sworn to protect the dragons. The sword lends its wielder the ability to do fire damage on an enemy. Goldbrand has not been cited in recent history and is said to be awaiting a worthy hero. Fang of Hayan Katanmet. Black Marsh was once known to be inhabited with what the Argonians call the Wamasis, northern men considered to be intelligent dragons with lightning for blood. One such mighty beast, Hayan Kanatmet, was slain by the northern men, though it took 7 days and nights and a score of men. One of the surviving men took a fang home as a trophy. The fang was carved down into a blade and fashioned into a small dagger. The dagger mysteriously houses some of the beast's magical properties and grants the user the ability to do shock damage to an opponent. This unique dagger can be seen occasionally by traveling heroes. Umbra Sword. The Umbra Sword was enchanted by the ancient witch Nainra Ware, and its sole purpose was the entrapment of souls. Used in conjunction with a soul gem, the sword would allow the wielder the opportunity to imprison an enemy's soul in the gem. Nainra was executed for her evil creation, but not before she was able to hide the sword. The Umbra Sword is very choosy when it comes to owners, and therefore remains hidden until a worthy one is found. Dinstagmer's Ring. All that is known of this ring is that it may grant the user protection from certain elements. Even the name Dinstagmer is a mystery.
Not as much as a mystery as Hayan Kanatmet.
Helm of Orin Bearclaw. One of Aelinwood's legendary heroes is Orin Bearclaw, son of King Feum Todai. He was a respected clan hunter and future leader. A Wood Elven legend claims that Orin single-handedly defeated,
good God,
Glenwyn Falva, the witch serpent of the Elven Wood, forever bringing peace to his clan. Orin would go on to accomplish numerous other deeds, eventually losing his life to the Kanatin Flu. His helm stood as a monument of his stature.
Excuse me.
For future generations to remember. The helm was lost eventually, and the clan split, and is now a treasured artifact for adventurers. The helm of Orin Bearclaw is rumored to improve the wearer's agility and endurance. Daedric Crescent Blade. Probably the most rare and even outlawed item of all the great prizes is the Daedric Crescent Blade. The blade was used by Marunas Dagon's Daedric forces in the capture of the Imperial Battlespire. These extremely unique blades were gathered up and destroyed after the Battlespire was recaptured by the Empire. All but one, it seems. Though the Empire believes them all to be destroyed, it is rumored that one still remains in existence somewhere in Tamriel, though none have ever seen it. The blade lends its wielder the ability to do great damage on an enemy and allows him to paralyze and put heavy wear on his enemy's armor. Quite the prize for any mighty warrior, if it does indeed exist.
I'd like to read all of these, but let's give it some time. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have any doubles.
How are you Been better.
Didn't
How
care
about
for the
you?
food, did you?
I've been better.
Do you think what happened to Kvatch could have happened here?
Sure.
Bye.
He seems awfully cheery about the prospect of the,
Look at the muscles on you.
Gotta remember where my fence is.
Greetings to you. I'm really tired. Can we get on with this? Yeah, my favorite customer. What do you got?
Nothing, it turns out. What can you tell me about the Grey Fox?
He's kind of like a guild master for the Thieves Guild. All I know is that the Doyen and other senior guild members do his bidding like trained dogs.
Anything else on Bruma?
Bruma is a perfect town for a Nord man of leisure. Bracing mountain air, good food and drink, and lively Nord fellowship.
Anything else about the Thieves Guild?
What do you want to know?
Doyen?
The Doyen are the hands and eyes of the Guildmaster. You take your orders from them. You get your favors from them. The current Doyen are Armand, Christophe, and Skriva. Shadow hide you.
I really thought that would have been somebody to tell me where I don't think I have any other Thieves Guild contacts. Alright, well, I'm gonna head back to Chadenall to get the last of my gear, and I'll drop that off at Bruma. And then I think I'm just gonna take a trip to the shrine. What time is it? 4 in the morning. I could try and sell off some, it would be good to sell off some stuff. I'll do it in Chadenall.
Thank goodness I found you. I assume you know that Hieronymus Lex has issued an arrest warrant for Armand Kristoff.
Where's Armand?
He is in hiding. Armand is accused of stealing the bust of Lathasa Indaris from Cheydinhal. They say Count Indaris himself filed the charges.
What do I do with the bust?
There never was a client that commissioned the guild to steal Lathasa's bust. Armand used you to flush out an informant that infiltrated the guild.
So who was the informant?
Mavrina Arano. Now Armand needs your help to neutralize her. You're going to pin the theft of the bust on Mavrina. She lives in the waterfront.
How?
Plant the bust in her cupboard. Make sure she doesn't see you. Then go tell Hieronymus Lex that she is the thief. He probably won't believe you, so you may have to persuade him. Hopefully you will at least go and check it out.
Anything else on Hieronymus?
He's captain of the Imperial Watch. He's pursuing a personal vendetta against the Thieves Guild and the Grey Fox. I heard the Grey Fox personally humiliated Lex years ago when he tried to arrest Armand Kristoff for theft. Lex has never forgotten it.
Anything else you can say about the Grey Fox?
Nobody really knows who he is. He's always hiding under that weird cowl. Kinda spooky if you ask me.
Sorry, just 1 second here. Alright,
Shadow hide you.
so originally I was going to head to Cheydinhal, but it seems to make sense to go to the Imperial City now, finish the job, and then in Cheydinhal I can talk to Indaris. Oh, that's right, I dropped the pelt.
Die, cur! Hope we get to see the sunrise, but it's a little cloudy.
Speak. Well met. Hi there.
Hi, yourself.
What is it, citizen?
Just trying to think. The market district may not be a bad choice, just to try and get rid of some of this weight I'm carrying.
Good day. You'll need to convince Skinwolm you're worth his time if you want further training. Let's do business.
I was hoping for more, but...
A good price. That's more than I usually pay. A good price for a good customer. You drive a hard bargain. Another satisfied customer. Good day.
Any friend of the society is a friend of mine. Have a look around. You never know when you might need a good, strong potion. Best to stock up now while you can. Be seeing you. Any friend? You never know when you might need a good, strong potion. Best to stock up now while you can. You drive a hard bargain. Tell your...
Just want to try and get rid of some of these ogre teeth. Ah!
Any friend? Can I interest you in some of my wares? A good price for a good customer. Tell your friends about me.
I'm just not gonna bother trying to use
day.
something with the wrong name on it. I'll almost certainly forget.
Okay. You?
Can you tell me where Armand Christoph is hiding?
Afraid I
Speak,
can't.
citizen.
Hear any rumors?
The Kvatch Oblivion Gate has been closed. Don't you understand what that means? We can beat the bastards! If you run into trouble, come find me.
Oh, hello.
Get your Black Horse courier here. It's you. Sorry? Only one copy of the Black Horse courier per customer. You too.
Hello.
Hello.
We'll get him. Can you tell me where Armand Kristoff is hiding?
Afraid I don't know.
Have you seen What do you want? Can't you see I'm in the middle of an investigation?
Oh, and you're doing a great job of it.
Don't worry. We'll get him. Can you tell me where Armand Kristoff is hiding?
Alright, so I'm a little nervous about breaking into this place when there's the guards standing around like this. But it's also not very clear when I'm visible and not. Oh.
The bust is in Mirvana's cupboard, now to tell that windbag Lex where to find it.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm in the middle of an investigation?
Found the bust of Lethassa and Darius.
You know where the bust is hidden?
Mirvana Arano has it.
Your credibility is suspect. You'll have to do better than that to persuade me. Go ahead.
How about a joke?
You're pathetic. Yes, whatever you say. Not bad. Was that supposed to be a compliment? You're pathetic. Don't. Please, I'm sorry. I don't. Good one. I'm not buying that one. Not bad. Not bad at all. I accept. I have no choice. I'm not buying that one. Not bad. You're up. Yes, whatever you say. No more. That's... I'm not buying that one. That works for me. You know where the bust is hidden? Are you sure? That can't be right. She's she doesn't seem to be the type.
It's in her cupboard.
I don't believe you, but I'll have to check it out anyway. If you are right, there will be hell to pay. You will have to come along.
Hey,
This
what are you
citizen
doing?
is accusing you of stealing the bust of Lethassa from Cheydinhal. I even found the bust in your cabinet. What do you have to say?
Fool! You've just exposed me to the Thieves Guild! That citizen is actually the guild member that was hired to do the theft!
I have no further use for you. If what I heard is true, you are the thief. If what you say is true, the Gray Fox knows you are my informant. Either way, it's over. You didn't really think I'd trust the likes of you for very long.
But I've been loyal to you. I've reported everything that Armand has done. You can't just toss me aside like a soiled cloth.
Yes, I can. You are under arrest for the theft of the bust of Lethassa and Doris, Countess of Cheydinhal. Come with me.
Aramis Lex found the bust I planted. Now all I have to do is report to Armand. Unfortunately, I'll have to wait until the next midnight for him to return to the Garden of Derloth.
How am I on weight? 290 could be better, but
What is it, citizen? You have my ear, citizen. What is it, citizen?
Pity say I've got nothing to eat. Look at the muscles.
You have... Have pity. Speak.
alright, so there's a little bit less for me to do in Chadenall, it turns out. But at the very least, I can pick up my stuff. Let's see if I can handle this one without checking the map. Although that doesn't mean I'm not gonna pause to save. I seem to recall last time the path to Chadenall was a bit treacherous. See ya. Well, so much for that. So I'm gonna see if I can get away with this. Do your job. Oh, come on! Leave my horse alone. It's determined. Why do they try to kill my horse? Should check where those stairs go at some point.
What is it, citizen?
You don't want to know how big my save folder is now.
Afternoon.
The March Rider sells and repairs weapons and armor. Can I help you? I'm Tertia Viducia. Let's do business.
Let's.
You drive. That's a...
Alright, now the thing I'm worried
Come
about
back
here
and
is
see
that
me again.
I'm not going to have enough weight for the remaining items.
Take care.
Hello again, Sarah.
Oh, good. No sigil stones. Oh, so close. Whoops. Still not enough.
I hope I can help.
Yep, just need to lighten the load, really.
Perhaps you need new armor, a weapon. I have a large selection of both.
Oh, actually, this isn't going to be the right one. Unless I can sell her potions. Nope.
Farewell.
Excuse me.
Well met. I offer the finest goods and the lowest prices in all Cyrodiil.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Thank you. Come again. Goodbye.
All right. Now, against my better judgment, I think I'm going to try and get another speedy horse.
If you want to buy a horse, go inside and talk to Tovas.
Bye. Greetings to you. I own the Black Waterside Stables. Are you shopping for a horse?
I am.
The black horses of Cheydinhal are the finest in all of Cyrodiil. None are faster, and only the white horses of Anvil are stronger.
5,000 gold is a lot, but I'll do it.
You won't regret it. Go out to the corral. Mivrina will have your new black horse saddled and ready for you. Hello.
I was trying to message as texting while horse riding. So once this is done, I'm gonna head to the next shrine so that I can see, I can get another Daedric artifact. And then while I'm there, I might check out whatever I can inside the cities because I'd still like to join the Mages Guild. If you kill a horse, I am gonna be so mad at you. Why did I even think I could get away with that? Should have read the signs.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Alright, so it wouldn't hurt for me to try and sell some of this
You've got
stuff.
the hands of a smith.
Good day.
Good day.
Can I interest you in some of my wares? Thank you for your patronage. Bye.
It's my pleasure. Please continue. Let's do business.
I think I might want to hang on to that just in case.
Bye.
I'm Ulfin, the light armor trainer. Skjorda and I run Nord Winds. Please excuse us. We had a little drink up last night. Still a little muzzy.
I admire your honesty.
Good that you want to get better. Have a look around. You won't find better prices in all Tamriel. Good day. It's my pleasure. Please continue. Have a look around. You won't find better prices in all Tamriel. Goodbye.
Should probably just take a look at some of the stuff. So, weight-wise in terms of arrows. It's not that bad, actually. So I'm currently wearing an amulet of spell absorption, which is definitely not bad. I could be wearing something to improve my speechcraft. I think I like the absorption better. So I'm going for Fortify Strength. Now what interests me here? Okay, I'm still at 96, so... yeah, so for now I'm gonna keep this as is. So it looks like the last thing to do is to lighten my load as far as books. Thief of don't know how, haven't I already read that?
Let me tell you the tale of the Thief of Virtue. In the land of Hammerfell, in the city of Such, there lived a baron who was quite wealthy. He was a noted collector of rare coins. The Baroness Veronique found the whole thing quite tedious. However, she did appreciate the lifestyle that the baron's wealth provided. Ravius Ternius was a noted thief. He claimed to be a master thief in the mythical Guild of Thieves. However, it was most likely just braggadocio. The only known Thieves Guild was wiped out over 450 years ago. Ravius decided that the Baron should share his wealth. Specifically, he should share it with Ravius. The wily thief crept into the Baron's castle one night, intending to do just that. The walls of the castle were noted for their height and unscalability. Ravius cleverly used an arrow of penetration to affix a rope to the top of the battlements. Once on the battlements, he had to evade the Baron's guards. By hiding in the shadows of the crenellations, he was able to work his way to the keep undetected. Entering the keep was child's play for a thief of his caliber. However, a cunning lock with no less than 13 pins protected the private quarters of the Baron. Ravius broke only 9 lockpicks to open it. Using only a fork, a bit of string, and a wineskin, he disabled the 7 traps guarding the Baron's coin collection. Truly, Ravius was a master among thieves. With the coin safely in his grasp, Ravius began to escape, only to find the way blocked. The Baron had found the open door and was raising the guard to scour the castle. Ravius fled deeper into the castle, one step ahead of the questing guards. His only way out led through the boudoir of the Baroness Veronique. He entered to find the lady preparing for bed. Now it should be said at this point that Ravius was noted for his handsome looks, while the Baroness was noted for her plainness. Both of these facts were immediately recognized by each of the pair. "Dost thou come to plunder my virtue?" asked the lady, all a-tremble. "Nay, fair lady," Ravius said, thinking quickly. "Plunder be a harsh term to ply upon such a delicate flower as your virtue. I see thou hast made off with mine husband's precious coins." Ravius looked deeply into her eyes and saw the only path by which he would escape this night with his life. It would require a double sacrifice. "Though these coins are of rarest value, I have now found a treasure that is beyond all value," Ravius said smoothly. "Tell me, O beauteous one, why does thy husband set 7 deadly traps around these tawdry coins, but only a simple lock upon the door of his virtuous wife?" "Ignace protects those things that are dearest to him," Veronique replied with ire. "I would give all the gold in my possession to spend but a moment basking in your radiance." With that, Ravius set down the coins he had worked so hard to steal. The Baroness swooned in his arms. When the captain of the guard asked to search her quarters, she hid Ravius most skillfully. She turned over the coins, claiming that the thief dropped them when he fled out the window. With that sacrifice made, Ravius steeled himself for the second. He robbed the Lady Veronique of her virtue that night. He robbed her of it several times, lasting well into the wee hours of the morning. Exhausted, yet sated, he stole away in the pre-dawn hours. Posting of the hunt. The writing in the book appears to be a hasty transcription, perhaps from a dictation or copied from a longer work. Let no man say before a witness that the hunt has not been called, nor the rites declared or the ancient offices observed. The ritual of the innocent quarry, also called the wild hunt, is an ancient rite drawing magical energy from the powerful magicka stream that engulfs this realm. The creators and times of the rituals are long forgotten, but followed properly, the rite brings great power and prestige to the huntsman. The ritual pits the all-powerful huntsmen and their greater and lesser dogs against the pitiful and doomed innocent quarry, called by tradition the hare, after the mortal creature of human hunts. At once the huntsman is transported by the exquisite thrill and glory of his might and domination over his helpless prey, and at the same time touched by the tragic, noble, and ultimately futile plight of the innocent quarry. In the highest ascetic realization of the ritual, the ecstatic rapture of the kill is balanced by the huntsman's identification with the sadness and despair of the innocent quarry. As in pieces, the body of the innocent hare is torn. The huntsman reflects on the tragic imbalances of power and cruel injustices of the world. As the hunt begins, the lesser dogs assemble before the green crystal reflections of the chapel of the innocent quarry. Inside the chapel, the huntsman, the greater dogs, and the master of the hunt perform the rites that initiate and sanctify the hunt, and the innocent quarry. Then the huntsman emerges from the chapel, displays the spear of bitter mercy, and recites the offices of the hunt. The offices describe the laws and conditions of the 4 stages of the hunt: the drag, the chase, the call, and the view to the kill. Stage 1, the drag, in which the lesser dogs drag the ground to flush out the hare. Stage 2, the chase, in which the greater hounds drive the hare before them. Stage 3, the call, in which the greater hounds trap the hare and summon the huntsman for the kill. Stage 4, the view, in which the huntsman makes the kill with the ritual spear of bitter mercy and calls upon the master of the hunt to view the kill by ringing the town bell. The Master of the Hunt then bestows the bounty upon the huntsman Bold, who has wielded the Spear of Bitter Mercy in the kill. The Master of the Hunt also calls upon the huntsman Bold to name the next hare for the next hunt, though the huntsman Bold himself may not participate in the next hunt. The offices of the hunt, which the huntsman, master, and hounds are solemnly sworn to honor, detail the practices and conditions of the hunt. These practices and conditions, also known as the law, strictly define the details of the hunt, such as how many hounds of each sort may participate, how the Spear of Bitter Mercy may be wielded, and so forth. In addition, the law states that the hare must have a genuine chance to escape the hunt, no matter how slim. In practice, this condition has been defined as the availability of 6 keys, which, if gathered together in the Temple of Daedric Rites, permit the hare to teleport away from the hunt and so elude the huntsman and his spear. It is inconceivable, of course, that the hare might actually discover the keys and escape, but the forms must be observed, and tampering with the keys or cheating the hare of a genuine chance of finding or using the keys is a shameful and unforgivable betrayal of the law of the hunt. The ritual of the hunt grants the huntsman protection from all forms of attack, including mortal and immortal weapons, and sorceries of all schools. Huntsmen are cautioned, however, that the ritual does not protect the huntsman from the potent energies of his own spear, and cautions against the reckless wielding of the spear in close melee, darkness, or other dangerous circumstances, for a single touch of the Spear of Bitter Mercy means instant and certain death for innocent hare or fellow huntsmen alike. The right to name a wild hunt is a grand and grave right indeed, but as all but the high Daedra lords are vulnerable to the potent sorceries of the Spear of Bitter Mercy. The spear itself is therefore a terrible weapon, and it is forbidden to remove it from the grounds of the ritual hunt. The Last King of the Eyelids by Herminia Cinna. The Eyelids, or Heartland High Elves, ruled Cyrodiil in the long ages of myth before the beginning of recorded history. One of the earliest recorded dates, in fact, is the fall of the White Gold Tower in the First Era 243, which is commonly assumed to mark the end of the Eyelids. Although eyelid rule over all Cyrodiil was indeed broken in First Era 243, it was only one of the most obvious stages near the end of a long decline. The first 2 centuries of the First Era saw increasing strife between the great Aelid lords of Cyrodiil. Alicia appears to have taken advantage of a period of civil war to launch her uprising. Imperial historians have traditionally attributed her victory to intervention from Skyrim, but it appears that she had at least as much help from the rebel Aelid lords during the siege of the White Gold Tower. The popular image of Eyelids as brutal slave masters is based in fact, of course, but it is less well known that a number of Eyelid princes continued to rule parts of Cyrodiil after 243 as vassals of the new Empress of Cyrodiil. This suggests either that Eyelid rule was not universally detested, or that Alicia and her successors were more pragmatic than is traditionally believed, or perhaps some of both. In any event, excavations at a number of Eyelid sites show continued occupation and even expansion during the so-called Late Eyelid period, First Era 243, circa 498. At first, many Eyelid lords continued to rule as vassals of the new human regime. In some cases, Eyelid supporters of Alicia were even rewarded with new lands taken from slain enemies. It is not clear to what extent human slavery continued under the Cyrodiilic Empire. Humans continued to dwell in Eyelid-ruled areas of Cyrodiil, but there is nothing definitive to show under what terms. This was an uneasy relationship from the beginning and was not destined to last long. Resentment at the continued presence of Eyelid nobles within the empire was a contributing factor to the rise of the so-called Elysian Order, founded by Maruk. The first victims of the Elysians were the Eyelids of Cyrodiil. In the early 300s, the surviving Eyelid communities in human-ruled areas were obliterated one by one, the refugees temporarily swelling the power of the remaining Eyelid lordships. Then, in 361, the Elysians gained control of the empire and enforced the Elysian doctrines throughout its domain. The Eyelid lordships were abolished. Enforcement of this decree does not appear to have required much direct violence. It seems that by this point the balance of power was so overwhelmingly against them, and their fate so long foreshadowed, that most of the remaining Eyelid simply left Cyrodiil, eventually being absorbed into the elven populations of Valenwood and High Rock. Indeed, the rise of the Direni hegemony may be linked to this exodus of Eyelids from Cyrodiil, a connection so far little studied by historians. Still, a remnant Eyelid population seems to have survived the rule of the Elysians, because we hear of the last king of the Eyelids joining the Battle of Glenumbra Moors, where the Direnis decisively defeated the Elysians in 482. How this king's people survived the preceding century is unknown. We do not even know who they were, although recent research points to Nenalata as the possible resting place of this last king. Unfortunately, in the current state of the empire, funds are no longer available for proper scientific investigation of such extensive ruins, so the answer to these questions will have to be left to future generations. The Refugees by Garros Albury. The smell of the bay oozed through the stones of the cellar, salt and briny decay. The cellar itself had its own sense of old wine turned to vinegar, mildew, and the more exotic spices of herbs the healers had brought with them to tend to the wounded. There were more than 50 people squeezed into the big earthen room which had once been forgotten storage for the brothel above. The groaning and whimpering had ceased for now, and all was still, as if the hospital had turned into a mass grave. "Mother," a Redguard boy whispered. "What was that?" The boy's mother was about to answer him when there was another rolling roar from outside, which grew louder and louder, as if some great but incorporeal beast had come into the cellar. The walls trembled and dust burst from the ceiling in a rain of powder. Unlike the last time, no one screamed. They waited until the weird, haunting sound had passed, and then was replaced by a soft rumble of the distant battle. A wounded soldier began whispering Mara's prayer for the doomed. "Mankar," a Bosmer woman curled up in a cot hissed, her eyes feverish, flesh white and wet with sweat. "He's coming." "Who's coming?" asked the boy, grasping his mother's skirt tight. "Who do you think, lad? The sweetsmonger?" a grizzled, one-armed Redguard growled. "The Cameron usurper." The boy's mother shot an angry look at the old warrior. "She doesn't know what she's saying. She's sick." The boy nodded. His mother was usually right. He had not yet even been born when people were whispering that Cameron the usurper was coming towards her little village, and she had packed up their belongings to flee. Their neighbors had laughed at her, she said, saying that Riyadh and Tanith would handily defeat him. Her husband, Lukar's father, who he was never to meet, had also laughed at her. It was the harvest time. She would miss out on the celebrations. But his mother, Miak Ai, was right. 2 weeks after she fled the village, she heard the tale that it had been obliterated during the night with no survivors. Riyadh and Tanith had both fallen. The usurper was unstoppable. Lukar had been born and grown up in the refugee camps throughout Hammerfell. He had never known a friend for more than a few days. He knew that when the sky burned red to the west, they would pack up and move east. When it burned to the south, they moved north. At last, after 12 years of moving from camp to camp, they had taken passage across the Iliac Bay to the province of High Rock and the barony of Dwinnen. There, Miak Ai had promised and hoped that they would have a peaceful, permanent home. It was so green there, it blinded him. Unlike Hammerfell, which was only green in certain seasons and in certain places, Dwinnen was verdant year-round, until wintertide when it began to snow, and Lukar had been frightened of it at first. He was ashamed to think of it all now, when there was real danger. But the red clouds of war, the stink and pain of the refugee camp, that was familiar. Now the red sky on the horizon of the bay was coming closer, and he had longed for the days when the scattering of white had made him cry. "Mankar," the Bosmer woman cried out again. "He's coming, and he will bring death." "No one is coming," said a pretty young Breton healer, coming to the woman's side. "Hush now." "Hello?" came a voice from above. The whole room, almost together as one, gasped. A Bosmer limped down the shoddy wooden stairs, his friendly face very obviously not that of the Cameron usurper. "Sorry if I frightened you," he said. "I was told there were healers here. I could use a little help." Rosianna hurried to take a look at the Bosmer's wounds on his leg and chest. Disheveled, but still beautiful, she was one of the favorites at the brothel who had learned her healing skill along with her more vocational skills at the House of Debella. She carefully but quickly pulled the rent leather cuirass, chaussettes, tassets, greaves, and boots off him, and then placed them to the side while she examined the injuries. The old Redguard warrior picked them up and studied them. "You were in the war?" "Next to it is probably a better way of putting it," the Bosmer smiled, wincing slightly at Rosanya's touch. "Behind it, beside it, in front of it. My name's Orban Elmlock. I'm a scout. I try to avoid the real battles so I can get back and report what I see. A good job for people who don't like the color of their own blood very much." "Hism," said the warrior, shaking Orban's hand. "Can't fight anymore, but I can fix up this armor if you're going to return." "You're a leathersmith?" "Ah, just a jack of all trades," replied Hism, opening up a small canister of wax to prep the hard but flexible leather. "I can tell you were a scout from the armor, though. Can you tell us what you've been spying on? We've been down here for half a day now, with no word from the outside." "The entire Iliac Bay is one great battlefield on the waves," said Orban, and sighed at Rosanya's side as Rosianya's spell began to close his jagged but shallow wounds. "We shut off the invasion from the mouth of the bay, but I was coming from the coast, and the enemy's army is marching over the Rothgarian mountains. That's where I had my little scuffle. It's not too surprising, moving the flank in from the side while the front battle is occupied. It's a play right out of Cameron Kaltos' book of tricks the Heart King borrowed." "The Heart King?" Lukar asked. He had been listening quietly, understanding everything except that. Haemon Cameron, the Cameron usurper, Haemon Heart King. They're all the same, lad. It's a complicated fellow. Needs more than one name. You know him? Miak asked, stepping forward. Near on 20 years before this whole black bloody business, I was Cameron Kalato's chief scout, and Haemon was his sorcerer and advisor. I helped them both when they were vying for the Cameron throne, and began the conquest of... Ouch! Rosanya ceased her healing. With eyes of fury, she had reversed her spell, and the closed mended wounds were opening again, dark infections returning. She held him with surprising strength when Orban tried to pull back. You bastard, the Keeler courtesan hissed. I have a cousin in Felenci, a priestess. She's fine, Orban yelped. Lord Kaltos was very adamant about not harming anyone who did not pose a threat. I think the people of Kvatch would disagree with that assessment, said Hizim coldly. That was horrible. The worst thing I have ever seen, Orban nodded. Kaltos wept when he saw what Haemon had done. My master did everything he could to stop it, begging the Heart King to return to Valenwood, but he turned on Kaltos and we fled. We are not your enemy, and we have never been. Kaltos could do nothing to prevent the horror that the usurper has brought to the Colovian West and Hammerfell, and he has fought for 15 years to prevent more. The frightening bestial roar passed through the cellar again, even louder than before. The wounded could not help groaning in helpless terror. What was that? Miak sneered. Another of Cameron Kaltos' tricks that the usurper picked up? It is indeed a trick, as a matter of fact, Orban yelled, above the screech. It's a phantasm. It's a phantasm he employs to scare people. He had to use the fear tactics in the beginning when his power was ascending, and he has to fall back on them now for his power is waning. That is why it took him 2 years to conquer Valenwood and another 13 to half-conquer Hammerfell. No offense to you Redguards, but it isn't your only your battle prowess that has been holding him back. He does not have the support that he used to have from his master. The echoing roar increased in intensity before once again falling silent. Mankar, the Bosmer woman groaned. He comes and he will destroy us all. His master? Asked Lucar, but Orban's eyes had gone to the Bosmer woman, curled up in her blood-soaked cot. Who is she? Orban asked Rosanya. One of the refugees, of course, from your friendly little war in Valenwood before you and your Kaltos changed sides, the healer replied. I think her name is Kalis. By Geoffrey, Orban whispered under his breath, limping over to the woman's cot and wiping the sweat and blood-streaked hair from her pallid face. Kalis, it's Orban. Do you remember me? How did you get here? Did he hurt you? Mankar, Kalis moaned. That's all she said Rosanya. I don't know what it is, Orban frowned. Not the usurper, though she knew him too, very well. She was a favorite of his. His favorites, you, Kaltos, her, all seem to turn against him, said Miak. That is why he will fall, replied Hizim. Armored footfall rang along the ceiling, and the cellar door burst open. It was the captain of Baron Othrock's castle guards. The docks are on fire. If you want to live, you'll need to take refuge at Castle Waitmore. We need help, Rosanya called back. But she knew that the guards were needed for the defense, not to help carry the sick to safety. With 10 guards who could be spared and the most able-bodied of the wounded assisting, the cellar was emptied as the streets of Dwenin filled with smoke, and fire began to spread through the chaos. It had been a single fireball miscast out at sea striking the docks, but the damage would be tremendous. Some hours later, in the courtyard of the mighty castle, the healers were able to set up the cots and begin to tend once again to the suffering of the innocent. The first person Rosanya found was Orban Elmlock. Even with his wounds reopened, he had helped carry 2 of the patients into the castle. I'm sorry, she said, as she pressed her healing hands onto his wounds. I lost my temper. I forgot that I am a healer. Where's Kalis? Orban asked. She's not here? Rosanya said, looking around. She must have run away. Run away? But wasn't she injured? It was not a healthy situation, but new mothers can surprise you with what they can do when it's all over. She was pregnant, Orban gasped. Yes, it wasn't such a difficult birth in the end. She was holding the boy in her arms when I saw her last. She said that she had done it herself. She was pregnant, Orban murmured again. The mistress of the Cameron usurper was pregnant. Word quickly spread through the castle that the battle was over, and more than that, the war was over. Haemon Cameron's forces had been defeated at sea, and in the mountains, the Heart King was dead. Lucar watched down from the battlements into the dark woods that surrounded Dwenin. He had heard about Kalis, and he had imagined a desperate woman fleeing with her newborn baby in her arms into the wilderness. Kalis would have nowhere to go, no one to protect them. She and her baby would be a refugee like Miyaki and him had been. Reflecting back, he remembered her words. He is coming, and he will bring death, he will destroy all. Luca remembered her eyes. She was sick, but not afraid. Who was this he who was coming if the Cameron usurper was dead? Did she say nothing else? Asked Orban. She told me the baby's name, Rosanya replied. Mankar. 10 Commands, 9 Divines. The 10 Commands of the 9 Divines. By the intercession of Saint Alicia, you may be so filled...
I think I read some of these in the castle, but I'll read it just in case.
By the intercession of Saint Alicia, you may be so filled with grace and the strength and wisdom that comes from grace, that through these teachings you may come to the true meaning of the 9 Divines and their glories. To convey to man's mind all the manifold subtleties of truth and virtue may not be done were all the sky seas ink, all the skies the parchment upon which their wisdoms were writ. Yet Akatosh, in his wisdom, knowing how impatient is man, and how loath he is to travel upon the hard roads of truth, has allowed these 10 simple commands to be made manifest with powerful clarity and concise definition. 1. Stendar says, be kind and generous to the people of Tamriel, protect the weak, heal the sick, and give to the needy. 2. Arche says, honor the earth, its creatures, and the spirits living and dead. Guard and tend the bounties of the mortal world, and do not profane the spirits of the dead. 3. Mara says, live soberly and peacefully, honor your parents, and preserve the peace and security of home and family. 4. Zenithar says, work hard, and you will be rewarded. Spend wisely, and you will be comfortable. Never steal, or you will be punished. 5. Talos says, be strong for war, be bold against enemies and evil, and defend the people of Tamriel. 6. Kinnereth says, use nature's gifts wisely, respect her power, and fear her fury. 7. Debella says, open your heart to the noble secrets of art and love. Treasure the gifts of friendship. Seek joy and inspiration in the mysteries of love. 8. Giuliano says, know the truth, observe the law. When in doubt, seek wisdom from the wise. 9. Akatosh says, serve and obey your emperor. Study the covenants, worship the 9, do your duty, and heed the commands of the saints of the and priests. 10. The 9 say, above all else, be good to one another. If only each man might look into the mirror of these commands and see reflected there the bliss that might enfold them, were he to serve in strict obedience to these commands, he would be cast down and made contrite and humble. The obedient man may come to the altars of the 9 and be blessed, and may receive the comfort and healing of the 9, and may give thanks for his manifold blessings. Heedless, the wicked man turns away, and forsaking the simple wisdoms granted to him by the all-wise and all-knowing 9, he lives in sin and ignorance all the days of his life. He bears the awful burden of his crimes, and before men and God his wickedness is known, and neither blessing nor comfort may he expect from the altars and shrines of the 9. Yet the wicked and foolish are not doomed, for in their infinite mercies the 9 have said, repent and do good works, and the fountains of grace shall once more spill forth upon you. Repent your crimes, tender unto the emperor the fines of gold, that they may be used to spread the faith and its benefits to all men. Do yourself good works, redeem your infamy by shining deeds, show to all men and the 9 the good fame of the righteous man, and you may once again approach the altars and shrines of the chapel to receive the comfort and blessings of the 9. The true nature of orcs. Orcs were born during the latter days of the Dawn Era. History has mislabeled them beast folk related to the goblin races, but the orcs are actually the children of Trinimac, strongest of the Altmeri ancestor spirits. When Trinimac was eaten by the Daedroth Prince Boethia and transformed into that fall god's insides, the orcs were transformed as well. The ancient name for the orcs is Orzamer, which means the pariah folk. They now follow Maluk, the remains of Trinimac. Who is Maluk? He's more commonly known as the Daedroth Prince Malakath, whose sphere is the patronage of the spurned and ostracized, the sworn oath and the bloody curse. He is not technically a Daedra lord, nor do the other Daedra recognize him as such, but this is fitting for his sphere. Of old he was Trinimac, the champion of the High Elven Pantheon, in some places more popular than Auriel, who protected them against enemies without and within. When Trinimac and his followers attempted to halt the Velothi dissident movement, Boethia ate him. Trinimac's body and spirit were corrupted, and he emerged as Malakath. His followers were likewise changed for the worse. Despised by everyone, especially the inviolate Auriel, they quickly fled to the northern wastes near Sarthal. They fought Nords and Chimer for a place in the world, but did not get much. In Skyrim, Malakath is called Orke, or Old Knocker, and his battles with Ysmir are legendary. Waters of Oblivion. 120 numbered ages in the void that fated folk had grown deep-schooled in evil. Then the bright gods resolved to punish those faithless spirits and shatter the unruly caitiffs, those huge, unholy scathers loathsome to the light. They repented exceedingly that they had gazed upon Oblivion and seen there the first of dark kin, and welcomed them as brothers and sisters. Principalities of victory beheld how great was the wickedness and the wayward spirits, and saw that they were bold in sin and full of wiles. They resolved then to chasten the tribes of Daedra and smite darkkind with hammer and hand. But ever shall darkness contest the light, and great were the powers that breathed the void and laid waste upon one another, and no oath might bind them, so deep were they in envy and perfidy. For once the portals are opened, who shall shut them upon the rising tide? Trials of St. Elysia, from the Trials of St. Elysia. Akatosh made a covenant with Elysia in those days so long ago. He gathered the tangled skeins of Oblivion, and knit them fast with the bloody sinews of his heart, and gave them to Elysia, saying, "This shall be my token to you, that so long as your blood and oath hold true, yet so shall my blood and oath be true to you. This token shall be the amulet of kings, and the covenant shall be made between us. For I am the king of spirits, and you are the queen of mortals. As you shall stand witness for all mortal flesh, so I shall stand witness for all immortal spirits." And Akatosh drew from his breast a burning handful of his heart's blood, and he gave it into Elysia's hand, saying, "This shall also be a token to you of our joined blood and pledged faith. So long as you and your descendants shall wear the amulet of kings, then shall this dragon fire burn, an eternal flame, as a sign to all men and gods of our faithfulness. So long as the dragon fires shall burn, to you and to all generations, I swear that my heart's blood shall hold fast the gates of Oblivion. So long as the blood of the dragon runs strong in her rulers, the glory of the empire shall extend in unbroken years. But should the dragon fires fail, and should no heir of our joined blood wear the amulet of kings, then shall the empire descend into darkness, and the demon lords of misrule shall govern the land." From the Liturgy of the Rekindling of the Dragon Fires. The Armorer's Challenge. The Armorer's Challenge by Mimphonus. 300 years ago, when Kataraya became empress, the first and only Dunmer to rule all of Tamriel, she faced opposition from the Imperial Council. Even after she convinced them that she would be the best regent to rule the empire, while her husband Pelagius sought treatment for his madness, there was still conflict, in particular from the Duke of Vengeto, Thane Mingulmar, who took a particular delight in exposing all of the Empress's lack of practical knowledge. In this particular instance, Kataraya and the Council were discussing the unrest in Black Marsh and the massacre of Imperial troops outside the village of Armenius. Sodden swamped land and the sweltering climate, particularly in summertide, would endanger the troops if they wore their usual armor. I know a very clever armorer, said Kataraya. His name is Hasdir, an Argonian who knows the environments our army will be facing. I knew him in Vivec, where he was a slave to the master armorer there, before he moved to the Imperial City as a freedman. We should have him design armor and weaponry for the campaign. Mingelmeyer gave a short, barking laugh. She wants a slave to design the armor and weaponry for our troops. Sir Aurelius Saccas is the finest armorer in the Imperial City. Everyone knows that. After much debate, it was finally decided to have both armorers contend for the commission. The council also elected 2 champions of equal power and prowess, Nandor Beriad and Raphalis Yule, to battle using the arms and armaments of real competitors in the struggle. Whichever champion won, the armorer who supplied him would earn the imperial commission. It was decided that Beriad would be outfitted by Hazadir and Ul by Saccas. The fight was scheduled to commence in 7 days. Sir Aurelius Saccas began work immediately. He would have preferred more time, but recognized the nature of the test. The situation in Armenius was urgent. The Empire had to select their armorer quickly, and once selected, the preferred armorer had to act swiftly and produce the finest armor and weaponry for the Imperial army in Black Marsh. It wasn't just the best armorer they were looking for, it was the most efficient. Saccas had only begun steaming the half-inch strips of the black virgin oak to bend into bands for the flanges of the armor joints when there was a knock at his door. His assistant Fandius ushered in a visitor. It was a tall reptilian of common markings and dull green fringed hood, bright black eyes, and dull brown cloak. It was Hazadir, Kataraya's preferred armorer. I wanted to wish you the best of luck on the... Is that ebony? It was indeed. Saccas had brought the finest quality ebony weave available in the Imperial City as soon as he had heard of the competition and began the process of smelting it. Normally, it was a 6-month procedure refining the ore, but he had hoped that a massive convection oven stoked by white flames born of magicka would shorten the operation to 3 days. Sakis proudly pointed out the other advancements in his armory, the acidic lime pools to sharpen the blade of the daikatana to an unimaginable degree of sharpness, the akaviri forge and tongs he would use to fold the ebony back and forth upon itself. Hazadir laughed. "Have you been to my armory? It's 2 tiny smoke-filled rooms. The front is a shop, the back is filled with broken armor, some hammers and a forge. That's it. That's your competition for the millions of gold pieces in the Imperial Commission." "I'm sure the Empress has some reason to trust you to outfit her troops," said Cerolius Sakis kindly. He had, after all, seen the shop and knew what Hazadir said was true. It was a pathetic workshop in the slums, fit only for the lowliest of adventurers to get their iron daggers and cuirasses repaired. Sakis had decided to make the best quality regardless of the inferiority of his rival. It was his way, and how he became the best armorer in the Imperial City. Out of kindness and more than a bit of pride, Sakis showed Hazadir how, by contrast, things should be done in a real professional armory. The Argonian acted as apprentice to Sakis, helping him refine the ebony ore, and to pound it and fold it when it cooled. Over the next several days, they worked together to create a beautiful daikatana with an edge honed sharp enough to trim a mosquito's eyebrows. Enchanted with flames along its length by one of the Imperial battle mages, as well as a suit of armor of bound wood, leather, silver, and ebony to resist the winds of Oblivion. On the day of the battle, Sakis, Hazadir, and Fandius finished polishing the armor and brought in Rifal for the fitting. Hazadir left only then, realizing that Nandor Beriad would be at his shop shortly to be outfitted. The 2 warriors met before the Empress and Imperial Council in the arena, which had been flooded slightly to simulate the swampy conditions of Blackmarsh. From the moment Sakis saw Yule in his suit of heavy ebony and blazing daikatana, and Beriad in his collection of dusty, rusted lizard scales and spear from Hazadir's shop, he knew who would win, and he was right. The first blow from the daikatana lodged in Beriad's soft shield, and there was no metal trim to deflect it. Before Yule could pull his sword back, Beriad let go of the now flaming shield, still stuck on the sword, and poked at the joints in Yule's ebony armor with his spear. Yule finally retrieved his sword from the ruined shield and slashed at Beriad, but his light armor was scaled and angled, so the attacks rolled off into the water, extinguishing the daikatana's flames. When Beriad struck at Yule's feet, he fell into the churned mud and was unable to move. The Empress, out of mercy, called a victor. Hazadir received the commission, and thanks to his knowledge of Argonian battle tactics and weaponry and how to best combat them, he designed implements of war that brought down the insurrection in Armenius. Catariah won the respect of the council, and even grudgingly that of Thane Minglemire. Cerolius Sakis went to Morrowind to learn what Hazadir learned there, and was never heard from again.
All right. I believe we are caught up. Alright, so probably my best bet is to go to the Imperial City now.
Hello there.
The sun's already going down, but I do have the fastest horse, so I should be able to... Well, not necessarily should be able to, but I have a fighting chance. I had a haunting fear I didn't put the books away. Didn't do too bad for time. Not my problem.
I am Realist Gawe, and no, we don't sell horses, but we do eat well. The stables are owned by an orc, and you know, orcs and horses. You see,
I just wanted my horse armor.
What can I do for you? What can I interest you in?
Elven armor.
Here you are, just like I promised. Thanks again for all the help.
hi there. How can I help you? Kabach? Kabach was just the beginning. It's...
With your help, I uncovered the informant that had compromised the Thieves Guild. I know I used you in this matter with Lothas's bust, but I couldn't be certain that you weren't working with Mivrina. Here's the reward you were promised. Even though the bust is gone, you've earned it. I'm also promoting you to the guild rank of Bandit, which will let you use Darji of Leowin as your fence. Good work.
What else can you tell me about the Grey Fox?
We don't talk about him in public. The Thieves Guild follows the Grey Fox. However, we make sure that most folks think he is just a myth.
Any other special jobs?
Sadly, I don't have anything for you. I only work with the less experienced guild members. You should go see Scriva in Breville from now on. You can find her at the Lonely Suitor Lodge. I wouldn't recommend bothering her at home, unless the door's unlocked.
What can you tell me about Scriva?
Are you deaf? Didn't I already tell you she is in Breville?
I could see why you were limited only to the new members.
Shadow?
I've reached my goal. I fenced over 200 gold worth of goods. I should go see Scriva sometime. She may have something for me.
So I would have preferred to pursue the Boethia Shrine. In fact, I think I'm going to do that first. But it is nice to get a chance to try a new city.
Good evening.
How about mixing up some potions? You look like quite the alchemist.
Alright, so my best bet here seems to be to go to Cheydinhal. In fact, maybe I just park my horse in Cheydinhal, and then I walk to Boethia's shrine. Now, it's not obvious that Cheydinhal is the city that I should be going from to get to the Boethia Shrine, but I figure it's probably the safest place for me to put my horse. Of course, I'm probably not going to be stopping at any inns anytime soon.
My pleasure.
So we'll follow the path as far as we can, and then at that point we'll decide what the best option is. Okay, so there's sort of a reason why that ends. I remember there was a path in the back of Cheydinhal, so I'm going to take a look at that first.
Honor the Nine and do your duty. Pray at my chapel altars to receive my blessings. You make Father Akatosh proud. Rejoice, through faith your afflictions are banished.
So that may have been unnecessary, but I figure I might as well get a blessing while I'm here. This is the path I was looking for originally. It may not lead anywhere. There's gonna be a question in terms of how I can carry all this stuff back, but it's a nice problem to have. Alright, so this is where I already came from. Dead end. So I'm focusing on Blade just to get that skill upgraded. It's not as exciting though. To avoid taking the Daedric stuff for now. Not exactly how I wanted to practice restoration, but not the end of the world either. don't know why I picked up that wine.
The 5 tenets. Tenet 1. Never dishonor the Night Mother. To do so is to invoke the wrath of Sithis. Tenet 2. Never betray the Dark Brotherhood or its secrets. To do so is to invoke the wrath of Sithis. Tenet 3. Never disobey or refuse to carry out an order from a Dark Brotherhood superior. To do so is to invoke the wrath of Sithis. Tenet 4. Never steal the possessions of a Dark Brother or Dark Sister. To do so is to invoke the wrath of Sithis. Tenet 5. Never kill a Dark Brother or Dark Sister. To do so is to invoke the wrath of Sithis.
Obviously, I own all of those. It's just, I can sell them. Ah. I can't even imagine where my fan got to at this point. So the original intention was to just head straight back out after this, but seeing as it's daytime, I think I'll take the opportunity to sell some of this. It's neat to see little details like being able to see the city inside. Obviously a small oversight in terms of the temple, but
What's done is done.
I'm listening.
Good day.
all right. Let's see what I
interest
can
you in
sell
some
you.
of my wares? An excellent bargain. You've made a good bit of gold. A pleasure to serve you.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Bye.
Well met.
A pleasure to speak with you. Have a look at my wares. I'm sure there's something to suit you. A fine transaction. You drive a hard bargain.
So if I have a lower weight cure disease, there's no point in carrying the heavier ones. Why do you want to buy poisoned apples?
You're a fine negotiator. A pleasure to serve you. Farewell.
So that reminds me, this guy's always good at creeping up on me. Let's see if there's other books that I can pick up. Oh, nuts. Alright, I'm close to the end anyway, but hopefully there was an autosave. There was.
A pleasure
Pretty
to
sure we've
speak with
already
you.
bought what we can from Makna.
Let's see if we... Can I interest you in some of my wares?
So maybe the pig children is one we don't have, but
Be seeing you.
I am near certain we've already talked with them about their wares.
Hello again, sir. This is a wondrous encounter.
You've got the hands of a smith.
What's done is done.
More.
Alright, so there's not a whole lot of expectations in terms of making it, but in this case, pretty much a straight line from here. And ideally, as soon as I can find a path. But of course, it's not unpleasant to check out the world. Of course, they wanted to ruin my fun. All right. Now I can talk again. Anybody who murders a horse, there's a principle involved. So I was originally going to leave this for the start of the next episode, but let's see if we can run through. Oh, crumbs. Hot, 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 hot. Alright, I might actually have to work for this one. honestly don't remember which one I wanted to go into. I feel like it was this one. Uh-oh. Am I right back where I started? That's great if it is. Technically, there's stuff that I can try to pick up here. Oh boy. But I'll take opportunities when I see them. I'm not gonna fight for the artifacts. Pretty mad. Uh-oh. Hold the line. I think that's the same way I went, but honestly, the more up I go, the happier I'm gonna be. Still wrong one. Hey, where'd you come from? Sorry about that. And on that note, I think we will leave ourselves with the option of visiting the Swampy Cave later on. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next week.